We would like to talk about the book and the movie The Help. Here is just an overview. We would like to talk shortly about a resume, some of the main characters, the setting, some contractions, themes, and the message of the story.
I'll just shortly go through the resume. The Help is a movie about Abilene, who's a colored maid in Jacksonville, Mississippi. The movie takes place in 1963. The separation between colored and white was the founding of this community.
Some of the main characters.
The first character we'll go through is Abilene, the main protagonist. She works for Elizabeth Leafoil by raising her child May Mowgli Leafoil. The relation between May and Abilene is very loving, and Abilene is the mother figure in May's life. Abilene has raised 6 other white kids before May, but has only raised one son, which died too young by a tractor. She finds peace in raising these white kids to be loving and important. Abilene teaches the kids to be open-minded about the color of the skin, but she is met by racism at her job and her home here in Jacksonville. Abilene at the start wouldn't write with Miss Skeeter, but as the story goes on, she grows, and in the midway, she is a solid pillar in the writing of the book. Also, when the story goes on, her courage and will to stand up for herself grows, and she quits her job in the end. When she quits her job, she leaves May and can finally be truly free from the misery. This gives her time to think about it all, and you can see as she goes away from the house, she cries at first, but then starts to smile as she truly is free now. We have taken the quote, "You are a godless woman," as this is a part in the end where she stands up for herself, and you can see she has grown through the story.
And now I want to talk about Abilene and May's relationship. Abilene has a special relationship to May. Abilene loves May as was she her own child, and May loves Abilene as was she her own mother. Abilene has been taking care of May her whole life. Abilene helps to grow May's confidence and self-worth by always telling her, "You is smart, you is kind, you is important." Abilene misses her son, and therefore she feels so connected to May. She sees her as a replacement for her own dead son. May starts crying when Abilene gets fired and leaves the house. It was very hard for Abilene to see May crying like that, but she knew that she had to move on with her life as a parent and as a black woman. At this quote, we can see how much May loves Abilene. May calls Abilene her real mother.
Another of the main characters is Miss Skeeter. Miss Skeeter, she has a job and she has this dream about becoming a journalist. She lived with her mother, and her mother wants her to find a man, get married like other young women in the town. But Miss Skeeter, she wants to do something with her life. She wants to make a difference. Before, or as a child, she was more insecure about herself, but now she stands up for what she believes in. Miss Skeeter says, "I was raised by colored women. We love them and they love us, but they can't even use a toilet in our houses." Here you can see how Miss Skeeter, she loves the maids, and her relationship with the maid that raised her made her love black women. But she wants to help the maids so they can use their bathrooms. But one of her big actions is she gets this job at the newspaper, and she needs help from Abilene. Because Abilene knows something about cooking and cleaning. She wants to help Abilene because she is not general she would expect from the community. She wants to write this book where she tells the maid stories from their perspective. But this project, it would help the maids by the way people saw the maids, but the project is also against the Jim Crow laws, so it could get the maids killed. She is the mouthpiece between the maids or the black women and the rest of the world. Through the story, Miss Skeeter also finds this man, but he leaves her when she tells him about the book. And here you can see how the community don't dislike the maids. Miss Skeeter, she has at first a relationship with Evelyn just for her job, but second is also for writing the stories from their perspective and kind of shows they get more friendly with each other. Mosquito, she has a mother, and their mother wants her to be fancy and with nice girly dresses. But the mother also loves Mosquito, and she knows that she haven't been the best mom because Mosquito, she has this mom relationship with the maid that raised her, but the mother had fired this maid, and the maid died later on, and Mosquito was very sad. In the end, the mother, Mosquito's mother, says courage is something sometimes skips a generation. Thank you for bringing it back to a family. Hank could see how the mother accepts that Mosquito stands up for what she believes in and is not going to find a man.
And now I want to talk about Miss Hilly. Miss Hilly is the super villain of the story. Behind a respected woman who does good things for charity lies a racist, mean woman. She lives with her mom and her two children. Throughout the story, she tries to the Home Helps Sanitation Initiative. This initiative explains a lot about Hilly. She truly believes that color carries diseases which spread by sitting on the same toilet, which is the ironic as she eats the poo of Minnie, and when a lot of toilets stock up in her garden. In the story, she's very insecure and wants to control everything. Therefore, when someone catches her, she puts them in jail for stealing, or when it was her mother in a nursing home. And at this quote, we can see how Miss Hilly talks about the black colored people.
Another of the main protagonists is Minnie. Minnie is a black woman who works as a maid. She has 5 children and is married to Leroy. Her best friend is Abeline, and she's known for her cooking skills, especially her pie. She has a very strong character and is very outspoken, and that does often cause her trouble. That do also drive her into a conflict with Hilly, who has no respect for black women. Minnie becomes friends with her employer, Celia Ray, and they help each other to grow stronger and to learn how to control their life. Minnie doesn't like working as a maid, because as a maid she's supposed to be obedient and quiet, and she's neither of these things. Minnie is not afraid to say the truth, and is willing to fight for freedom and justice. We have taken the quote, I said, eat my shit, because here you can see how she is outspoken and stands up for herself as she is fired by Hilly.
There are some contractions in the setting. There is a big contraction between the black and white culture, or how some differences. The black people, they live in small houses with many children, and white people, they live in bigger houses with not that many children, but they have 1 or 2 children. The black people, they use cheaper or toilets outside, and white people, they have these warm and pretty toilets inside the house. So there's big separation. The black people have or is in the lower social rank than the white people, and the black people lives in different neighborhoods than the white people. The white people have neighborhoods that is more rich and more clean. There's a big difference in the works. The black people, the women, they work as maids, and the men of the families, they live in farms or in fields. So both men and women work. And the white people, there is only men people that work. They work as office workers, and the women is just there to have fun or with their kids or have fun.
And now I want to talk about the contractions between Miss Hilly and Miss Skeeter. Miss Hilly and Miss Skeeter has a lot of contractions. Miss Hilly and Skeeter had been friends since they were kids. They have both been made. They have both had mates since they were babies. Skeeter and her mother has always had a very special relationship to their mate. Skeeter tells us that she had been raised by her maid, and that's why she feels so emotionally connected to her. Skeeter gets hurt when she finds out that her mother has fired her maid. Skeeter feels like she has lost a person so close as was she her own mother. Miss Hilly doesn't feel the same way about her maid. Miss Hilly had just followed her mother's footsteps. Miss Hilly doesn't feel bad about the maid. She did just deny the truth. We see the construction in the way they treat their mates. Skeeter questioned the problems happening in their community, while Miss Hilly just do as the others. Skeeter doesn't feel as big a need to have a man. Miss Hilly has a special life purpose, that is to find a man and give birth. Skeeter wants to do something with her life. She has ambitions and drive, and Skeeter doesn't discriminate against other skin colors, opposite to Miss Hilly, who feels disgust by the black people and who thinks that they carry dangerous diseases that isn't familiar for the white people.
Another contraction is Abeline and Minnie, as they have two ways of handling a situation. Abeline and Minnie are both working maids. The difference between Abeline and Minnie is that Minnie dares to speak up for herself and take action. Abeline doesn't stand up for herself because she is afraid to lose her job. The difference lays in the way they handle specific situations. Minnie has a stronger attitude and is willing to express her feelings for justice. This is also seen by Abeline in the end as she grows, but in the start this is a big contraction between the two.
3-4 is Abeline's child. He was 24 when Abeline lost him. He was working on a hard job, but he fell down and died. And as he said in the quote, a tractor trailer didn't see him and crushed his lungs, for he couldn't move. By the time I found him, he was dead. And this is Abeline saying this. 3-4's brutal death could be an act of the Ku Klux Klan, because he could be a civil rights worker. Because Abeline tells how she always thought there would be a writer or a journalist in the family, and that could mean that 3-4 was working on something to public or something to get through to an audience. In the end of the movie, Abeline says, "I never thought it was me becoming a journalist." It means that the fights against the Ku Klux Klan segregation and civil rights is to be. Abeline shows have respect to the son by continuing his work, and also have respect for his death, and she wants to make 3-4 proud.
The Jim Crow laws is seen throughout the movie. The Jim Crow laws were a set of laws between 1867 and 1965. It was meant to keep the colored and white separated, but equal. But in use, it oppressed colored people and had inconveniences for colored people. The things meant for colored people were worn down or were nothing compared to the whites. In the movie, Jim Crow comes up as when she wanted to start writing the book. None of the nannies wanted to help her, as it is forbidden by the Jim Crow laws. She then later reads the Jim Crow laws and therefore understood the fear from the nannies. The chapter she read was, "No person shall require any white female to nurse in wards or room which Negro men are placed. No colored barber shall serve as a barber to a white woman or girl." In a Persian printing, publishing or circulating written matter urgent for public acceptance, a social equality between whites and Negroes is subject to imprisonment, and therefore none of the nannies wanted to help her, as it is subject to imprisonment.
And now I want to talk about the themes. The first theme is racism. The movie talks a lot about About the racism, we see the racism in the way the maids is being treated. The maids does also tell stories about how they had been treated through all those years. The white woman is the racist in this movie.
Another theme is oppression. The movie shows us how the maids get oppressed by their employees. We can see it in the way they get treated, in the way the employees talk to them. The oppression that also came through when the maids wanted to use the white woman's toilet. Here we saw how the maids get oppressed and how they can't express their opinion without getting ugly words thrown at them.
Another theme is segregation. There is a big segregation in the bathroom situation, where Miss Sleaford, at Miss Sleaford's house, the help or the maid use the guest bathroom, but when Miss Healy visits, she will not use the same bathroom as a colored person. She thinks they carry different diseases, as we saw earlier, so she wants segregated bathrooms. Miss Sleaford gets a bathroom for the colored help or maid, Aveline. And here you can see the community, what the community actually thinks about the colored maids, and they think they are dirty and non-human. Another example of segregation is in the job situations, as I spoke about earlier, where both the men and women works for the black people and only the men work for the white people.
And another theme is the family relations. Those family relation is seen as Minnie is hit by her husband in the movie, but where she quits her job. So the male in the family is the superior, while in the white family it's like the women hold some kind of power. They are housewives, but they have still control over their husbands.
Another theme is equality or freedom. We know that the maids are fighting for freedom, for the equality for black people and the civil rights for all people. The maids don't want to get oppressed and get their freedom taken anymore. They realize that it is time to get the civil rights as well as the white people. By sharing their stories with Skeeter, they chose to start fighting for equality by telling the truth. We also might assume that Aveline's son got killed by the KKK for his oppose against the white people. You can see that the fighting for civil rights has already started.
Another or the last theme is friendship. In the movie we see a lot about how real friends are. We learn from Aveline, Minnie and Skeeter something about friendship. We can see how trust and help from friends is needed to complete the mission about the book. And the movie also shows us how love, trust from a friend can get you through a hard time.
The message of the story is to speak up if you feel oppressed, and in this world we learn that we have to do something to make things happen.